2 months ago, over Easter, I sat down in a quiet house, kids at the grandparents', Ben out, just me and a laptop, and decided to get serious about replacing the income of my 9-to-5. I have been trying to leave the workforce for about 8 years now, and the journey has in no way been linear. Within those 8 years, other priorities have had to take center stage, including financial decisions, taking on debt as mortgages, having 2 children, and building an amazing base so that when I finally do get to leave my job, I am headed towards the best reality I can think of at this moment. So I've been following a couple of people as online mentors, and we'll walk through that experience. But the short version is this. I am 2 months into my business. I have chosen, given my strengths and given my interests, to do a suite of YouTube channels. And today I want to document where I am, what's working, what's not working, and what I've been learning. Before I get into it, for anyone who is new here, a quick introduction so you know who you're dealing with. I'm Aimee. I'm 42 years old. I'm a lawyer. I've been practicing for about 20 years. I do not have pink hair in real life, sadly, although that may change as I develop more fully into the person that I actually am. I love the cyberpunk aesthetic of this channel, and I love this idea of presenting a kind of alter ego, because that's really what's happening. AI and the augmentation it's brought into my life is helping me build that version of myself, and this channel is part of that. Also, my voice is not actually my voice at the moment. I'm Australian, and I haven't yet found a voice model that matches my cadence and my accent exactly, so you'll have to bear with this one while I experiment. We are going on this journey together, and that includes finding the right voice for it. Okay, into it. So, who am I following on this journey, and who's giving me pointers? The big one at the moment is Sabrina Ramonov, and if you've come across this video, there's a decent chance you already follow her. Her backstory is that she lived in Silicon Valley, built and sold a tech product that made her millions of dollars before she was 30, and then she pivoted to building a brand and tinkering with another product called Blotato, really just to keep AI as a game and see where she could take it. She's very transparent about the fact that she's been obsessed with Justin Welsh, who is a completely different creator, but equally a successful person, someone who built his whole business on LinkedIn and then turned that into products. And to me, looking at Sabrina's approach, it looks very much like she has put Justin Welsh's flywheel and content structure into effect for the AI era. And Justin Welsh is someone I've been learning from independently for years, so when I found Sabrina and saw that connection, I felt like I was in the right room. Her advice, especially early on, is pretty simple. Just get content out there and spend the first 3 months really learning about the space. And that's what I've been trying to do. I have been using AI to put out as much content as I can for these YouTube channels, the ones I feel are going to pop off. And look, I know the standard business lesson is to focus on one thing, but I'm going to push back on that slightly. Because Sabrina says get it out there, Justin Welsh says go make some noise. And what AI makes possible is that I can actually iterate faster than I could building everything manually. There's this idea called the 30 pots experiment. One half of a pottery class is told to make 1 pot a day for 30 days. The other half is given the entire 30 days to make 1 perfect pot. At the end, the judges picked the best pots, and the large majority of them came from the class that had been making 1 a day. What that tells me is that the first 100 videos might be a crapshoot. I'm going to learn as I go. And with AI in most parts of my production process, I can run that experiment faster than most. One of the things that landed hardest from watching Sabrina was her framing around picking one person and really modeling them. Not 15 different creators with 15 different approaches, but one. Study what they did and then start executing before you feel ready. So, what have I actually implemented from 2 months of building? The first is treating Claude as a stack. And I'm not going to be bashful about this. Claude is my favorite AI tool, and the one I use for the vast majority of what I do. I'll do a separate video on exactly what my stack looks like and how I make my videos from start to finish, but for now, just know that Claude is the mother lode. And if you're trying to build something similar and you're feeling overwhelmed by the sheer number of AI products coming out every minute, which everyone is, my advice is this. Pick one tool that can handle the majority of what you're trying to do. Get a handle on it, make it your anchor, and then only bring in other tools for the things that tool genuinely can't do. Keep the stack neat, keep it on one platform as much as possible, and don't let the noise of every new release pull you off your center. The second is channel Bibles, kill lists, and voice libraries. I have a channel Bible for every channel I'm running, and what that means in practice is that I can open a new Claude session, give it the Bible, and be in production within minutes, rather than spending the first hour re-establishing who I am and what the channel sounds like, and what the rules are. The kill list is a list of phrases I've banned from my scripts, words and constructions that sound like AI output rather than like me. The voice library is the positive version, the rhythms and sentence shapes that are actually mine. Together, they keep my output consistent in a way I don't think would have happened without them. The third is the /btw command, which is one of my favorite commands to use in Claude. Anytime I'm in a session and I notice something true about my work or my voice or my channel that Claude doesn't know yet, I type /btw and then the thing. Claude logs it. It's a small ritual, but it's how context compounds over time. Every /btw makes the next session more useful than the last one. If you haven't seen my first two videos, I walk through a number of different ways to supercharge what you're doing with Claude. Some really cool things that get you on the way to Claude mastery, and that's one of them. So what's actually working? The suite. I'm running multiple channels, and yes, I'm throwing them at the wall to see what sticks. I think that's the real description of what early-stage content looks like before the algorithm has weighed in. You build, you ship, you watch what lands, and you double down on the thing that does. The render pipeline. And I want to talk about this specifically because someone left a comment on episode 1 asking what tools I use to make my videos. And when I went to answer it, I realized the honest answer is more interesting than I expected. Claude renders my slides. Not in the sense that I use a design tool and Claude helps me think about what to put in it. I mean, Claude writes the code, runs it, produces the PNG files, and then I take those into HeyGen for the final video. Most people assume there's a Canva or a Figma somewhere in that pipeline. There isn't. That's what 2 months of building on top of Claude instead of beside it looks like. The compounding effect. Each channel I've built has made the next one faster. The first channel Bible took a long time. The second took half as long. By the third, I had a template and a rhythm and a set of questions I already knew to answer. You're not starting from zero each time. You're building on infrastructure you've already laid. And then there's the confidence thing. 2 months in, I had a sponsor reach out with a real offer, and I was able to hold my price without flinching. And separately, I had a conversation with a barrister, practicing counsel, about the content I've been producing for one of my channels, and I was able to hold my ground in that conversation, to have an informed view and defend it, and have them take it seriously. Now, I want to be clear about what was happening there. I'm a solicitor with 2 decades of practice, so I'm not a beginner. But there's still a version of me that would have quaked in both of those situations 6 months ago. What changed is that AI gives you the ability to back yourself in a way that I don't think people talk about enough. It's like the most amazing built-in Dunning-Krueger effect, in the best possible sense. It doesn't make you an expert, it makes you competent enough, fast enough, that the imposter syndrome doesn't have time to win. You arrive at the conversation having already done the research, already stress-tested the argument, already knowing what you think and why. That's a different version of yourself to walk in with. What's not working? Or more honestly, what I'm watching myself do that I recognize from every other time I've started something. I have a pattern. I start projects on excited fumes of what they could become. And there's a version of me that has said, this time it's different. This is the one. And meant it across more projects than I can count. Some of them were the one. A lot of them weren't. And the thing I can tell you 2 months into this one is, I don't know yet which kind this is. What I do know is that I have Magpie syndrome. I see a shiny new channel idea and I want to build it. I see a format I haven't tried and I want to try it. And there's a specific kind of productive feeling procrastination that comes with that, where you're building something new instead of shipping something that's ready. And it feels like progress because things are being made, but it's actually just a very sophisticated form of avoidance. The other real tension is time and energy. I have a full-time job. I have 2 kids. I have a partner with a demanding job of his own. The hours I'm building in come from somewhere. And the somewhere is usually sleep, or the edges of the day, or the 5 a.m. ritual that I'm genuinely protective of, and that I'd had to be careful not to colonize entirely with production work. I'm not burned out, but I can see it from here, and that's something I'm going to have to keep an eye on as I go. What would I tell the version of me who sat down at Easter with a laptop and a quiet house and a very large amount of optimism? Start with 1 channel done properly, not 5 half done. 1. Write per channel Bible before episode 1, not after you've made enough mistakes to know what the channel is. Before. The Bible is how you make the mistakes faster and learn from them without redoing everything. Build the kill list and voice library early, because every mistake in the first few episodes is data about what your voice isn't, and you want to capture that rather than repeat it. Don't promise cadence. Not to your audience, not to yourself. Cadence promises are how you turn a creative practice into a source of dread. And build systems that make Claude smarter about your work over time. Every session should leave Claude knowing more about you than it did at the start. That's the compounding effect nobody talks about, because it's slow and unglamorous, and it doesn't make a good thumbnail. But it's the thing that makes the whole operation more useful month by month. So if you want to watch me continue this journey, I am only 2 months in. By Sabrina's standards, I am a complete baby. I am very much still inside her advice of treating the first 3 months as pure learning, absorbing everything you can in the space you've chosen. What I want you to watch me do is scale this into a real business. The first step is making meaningful income from these channels. The next step, within hopefully 6 to 12 months, is replacing my full-time income entirely. And then, yes, the sky is the limit from there. Sabrina talks about $1 to $2 million as a beginning, not an endpoint, and I'm holding that as a direction rather than a deadline for now. Subscribe if you'd like to follow along, and please share your own lessons in the comments. Are you doing the same sort of thing? Have you found what works? Have you failed at something and want to talk about it? Let's build each other up and keep heading towards this amazing future we have in store. I'm Aimee. This is Renaissance. Now go play.